Yes. So good morning, everyone. Today we are going to start first chapter of Node.js. So chapter 1 points are, these are the points which we are going to cover in this chapter. Introduction of Node.js. What is Node.js? Advantages of Node.js. Traditional web server model. Node.js process model. Install Node.js on Windows and working in REPL. So these are the points which we are going to cover in chapter number 1. So first is introduction. In this introduction, we have to think about why Node.js came into picture. So here they told that modern web application has really come a long way over the years with introduction of many popular frameworks. So these are the frameworks. These are the some examples of frameworks. Using these, we can create web applications. Bootstrap, AngularJS. These are the frameworks. Using these, we can create modern web application. Now all these frameworks are based on popular JavaScript framework. So for this framework also we are using JavaScript language. So all these frameworks are based on JavaScript framework. But when come to develop server based application, these frameworks are creating client based application. But when it came to developing server based application, there was just kind of void. It's nothing to develop because they are developing client based application. So that time Node.js came into the picture. So Node.js can create server-based application, and it was not possible to these frameworks. So to remove this drawback of this framework, Node.js came into picture. Now earlier internet programming was divided into two phases. Two phases are client-side scripting and server-side scripting. What is client-side scripting? If you are developing web pages which are executed at client side, that is called as the client side scripting. And if you are developing pages that are running on server side, that is called as a server side scripting. Here client means your browser. Client side scripting is performed to generate a code that can run on client end, that is on your browser, without needing the server side processing. Only if you want to display the content of your page, that is you have already written at client side only, not you are not fetching from server side. So that time you will use client end browser. Basically these type of scripts are placed inside HTML document. And server side scripting is a technique of programming for producing the code which can run software on server side. In simple word, any scripting or programming that can run the web server is known as a server side scripting. So remember this client side scripting. Here we are not fetching information from server side, only we have to display the content to the user, and that is already available in your HTML document. Then you can show that document to the user from your browser. And server side, if you are fetching data from server, that time server side scripting is required. So these are the two part of internet programming. This is server side scripting, how we are fetching data from server side. Here is a client, he will write some script to fetch data from server. He will request, for example, google.com. We are writing google.com in browser. So that page is requesting from here client side. Then here is a pre-processing. Server will pre-process that data. It will send to the script engine. Script engine will translate that data, whatever available at server side, that data is translated to the HTML form. Then we have to locate the page. We have to mean that server will locate the page, where is that page is available, and return to the client. So client will get that google.com page. So this is the server side scripting process, how server works. Difference between client-side scripting and server-side scripting. Client-side scripting, web browser execute client-side scripting. Who execute that? Web browser. Then here web server is there to execute server-side scripting. Then in client-side scripting, It is also used for validation and functionality for user event. For example, if you want to take mobile number, it should be 10 digits. So that type of validation we can do at client side. Server-side scripting, they are basically used to create dynamic pages. Dynamic means at runtime, contents are going to change. So this is server-side scripting. At client side, it cannot be basically used to connect to the database on web server. Only we have to display information, that time we are using client side scripting. So it cannot be basically used to connect to the database. We are not fetching any data, so we are not connecting to the database. Here in server side scripting, it is used to connect to the database on web server because we need current data. Then in client side, these scripts cannot access file system that reside at web server. Here we are not accessing data from web server, so we cannot access the file system of that also. Here in server side, it can also access the file system residing at server side or web server side. Client-side scripting, it can also use to create cookies that store data on computer's memory. So this is at client side only. Cookies are stored at client side. In server-side environment that runs on scripting language is a web server. So here we are using scripting language to execute server-side scripting. So this is difference between client-side and server-side. Next, web-based scripting language. Concepts are coming same here, but here is a history how web-based scripting language coming into exist. Since inception of web development, scripting languages like VBScript, JavaScript, etc. For scripting languages, we were using VBScript, JavaScript. And server-side scripting languages are ASP, JSP, PHP. So client side, we are using VBScript, JavaScript. At server side, we are using ASP, JSP, PHP. Suppose at that time you are a developer and if you want to work at both side, client side as well as server side, then you have to learn all these languages. You should know client side languages also server side languages. If you want to develop application at both side. At that time, developer was learning both for client end and server end. Till a few years back, JavaScript was limited to client-side scripting only. That time, JavaScript was limited to client-side scripting only. Here only, we can means at browser side or at client side only we were using JavaScript. We were not using JavaScript at server side. In 2009, the idea came in mind of Randall, a Google engineer, that was not one language should work at both ends. Means there is no single language which is going to work at both ends, client side as well as server side. So this idea came into this mind. He is a Google engineer. This idea came into his mind. So he worked to run JavaScript outside client browser also. Means now we have to work this JavaScript to server side also. Means same JavaScript could be used at client end as well as at server end. So he used tool Chrome V8 engine. This is a Chrome engine, V8 engine that is used for this Node.js now to execute server side code. This Randall has used Chrome V8 engine and embedded C++ program into this engine that is called as a Node.exe, which later become Node.js. So understood this part, how Node.js came into existence. Initially, there were different languages for client side and server side. So this idea came into his mind, why not create single language which will work on client side as well as server side. So he worked on that and he used tool Chrome V8 engine and embedded C++ program into this engine and created new version that is called as a Node.exe, which later become Node.js. Clear about this?
Yes, ma'am.
This is web-based scripting languages. This is client-side script, JavaScript, VB script, and these are the server-side scripting languages: PHP, .NET, Python. Then again, Node.js also based on JavaScript framework, but it is used for developing server-based applications. Node.js is not a framework and it's not a programming language. You will get MCQ type of question about this. Node.js is a framework. Node.js is a programming language. It is not a framework as well as not a programming language. What is it? How it works? We often use Node.js for building backend services like APIs, web apps, mobile apps. It is used in production by large companies like PayPal, Uber, Netflix, Walmart, and so on. So this is not a framework as well as not a programming language. What is Node.js then? Node.js is a single process application. It does not create new thread for every request. You will come to know what is thread and how many requests it is going to handle in next slide. Node.js is a single process application. It does not create new thread for every request. Node.js runs on VB8 JavaScript engine. Remember this. This will be also your MCQ type of question. How on which engine Node.js runs? So VB8 JavaScript engine, which is the core of Google Chrome browser. This VB8 JavaScript engine is a core of Google Chrome browser on which Node.js application runs. Node.js is an open source and cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment. It is a runtime environment, not a programming language, not a framework. It is a cross-platform JavaScript runtime environment. Remember this. It is very easy and popular tool for developing any kind of website. Node.js provides collection of asynchronous input-output primitives. You will come to know about this word asynchronous and input-output primitives in its standard library that prevent JavaScript code from blocking. It is not going to block. Simultaneously, execution is going on. And generally, libraries in Node.js are written using non-blocking, means which is not going to stop execution. Continuously execution of your program is going on. Paradigm, making blocking behavior the exception. You will come to know about this point, what is asynchronous and what is non-blocking in next slides. When Node.js performs input-output operation, like a reading from network, accessing database or the file system, instead of blocking the thread and wasting CPU cycle waiting, Node.js will resume the operation when response come back. Suppose one process is going on and that time, if that process requires some input-output operation, then that process will send to that part to complete input-output operation. Till that time, Node.js will execute second process. Means continuous, that second process execution is also going on, that input-output operation work is also going on. After completing that input-output operation, that process will again come back to the Node.js for execution, remaining part. This allows Node.js to handle thousands of concurrent connections because they are not waiting for input-output operation or other related operation, which files required to complete. So that because of this, Node.js can handle thousands of concurrent connections with the single server without introducing burden of managing thread concurrency. So using single server, Node.js is going to handle thousands of concurrent connection because of non-blocking feature. Node.js has a unique advantage because millions of front-end developers that write JavaScript for the browser are now able to write the server-side code in addition to the client-side code, because this Node.js can work at both sides, client-side as well as server-side. Difference between AngularJS and Node.js, how AngularJS work and how Node.js work. AngularJS is an open source web application development framework. Remember this, it is a framework and it is going to work at client side. It is a cross-platform runtime environment for applications. Angular is written in TypeScript. Node.js is written in C, C++, JavaScript language. AngularJS used for building single-page client-side web application. Client side focuses on client side. And Node.js used for building fast and scalable server-side networking applications. Angular itself is a web application framework. Node.js has many different frameworks like Sales.h, JS, Partial.js, and Express.js. These are the some example of frameworks. Ideal for Angular is ideal for creating highly active and interactive web apps, and Node.js is ideal for developing small size project. Angular is helpful in splitting an app into MVC components. You know the MVC component. In Node.js is helpful in generating database queries. Angular is suitable for developing real-time application, and Node.js is suitable in situation where something faster and more scalable is required. So this Node.js is working at the environment where we have to execute fast or more scalable applications. And it is executing at server side. This is executing at client side. Now, difference between JavaScript and Node.js. They have given some features on the basis of that, given the difference between JavaScript and Node.js. First feature is type. JavaScript is a programming language and Node.js is an interpreter or and environment for JavaScript. Means this is a runtime environment where we are executing JavaScript applications, but it is actual programming language. Then utility, JavaScript used for any client-side activity for web application. Here in Node.js used for accessing and performing any non-blocking operation of any operating system. And running engine for JavaScript, running engine are SpiderMonkey, that is Firefox, JavaScript Core, Safari, V8, Google Chrome. These are the running engine for JavaScript. And in Node.js, we are using V8, that is Google Chrome engine. So this is difference between JavaScript and Node.js. Now difference between front-end development and back-end development. As you know, front-end development means client-side development or front side, for example, website front page. That page is at front side, means client can see that. And back-end development at database side, we have to develop the application. So here front-end development uses markup and web languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Using these languages, we are going to create front-end environment, which we are going to show to the user or client. And here at the backend uses programming and scripting languages like Python, Ruby, Perl. These are the languages. Using this we can develop backend environment. Then at front end based on asynchronous request and Ajax. And backend development is based on server architecture. Whatever server architecture, as per that requirement we have to develop application. It has a better accessibility. Front-end development has a better accessibility, and here at the back end we have to enhance the security. So it is used for enhancing security. Front-end development is used for SEO, search engine optimization, and back-end development is used for backup because database part is always coming at this side, backup side. Features of Node.js. Node.js is asynchronous or non-blocking nature, means here we are not blocking any process from execution. Node.js is easy to launch and can be used for prototyping and agile development. Prototyping means we have to create a model. We can create a model using this Node.js. Node.js provides fast and highly scalable services. It uses JavaScript everywhere, so it's easy for JavaScript programmer to build backend services using Node.js. Source code cleaner, consistent and steady, and large environment for open source library. So these are the features of applications of Node.js. Application means where we have implemented Node.js, means using Node.js what applications we have developed. So it is used in online vehicle booking and tracking system. Uber was one of the first 3 companies that put Node.js into full production. They require an extremely fast and scalable cross-platform technology solution that could handle an enormous amount of notification and requests. It is non-blocking. It has a non-blocking feature. That's why it is used by this Uber company. So online vehicle booking and tracking system is the one application of Node.js. Second is chat application. Simultaneously, numerous means lot of users can use this application. That's why we are using Node.js here. Then game server, social media, good for collaborative environment. More than one environment we can combine into this, or we can open documents also here. Advertisement server, the streaming server means you can watch movies online. So streaming server also, this is also application of Node.js. Who uses Node.js? These are the name of the companies: PayPal, Yahoo, LinkedIn, Mozilla, eBay. These are using Node.js. Advantages of Node.js: fast processing because of non-blocking environment and event-based model. Event-based means when user performs some action, that time it gives response to that action. So it gives fast result and it is working on event-based. Scalability. Scalability means application can be scaled easily to horizontal as well as vertical direction. Real-time web app, we can create real-time web app using Node.js. Advantages of caching. Caching means when you first time access any page, that page remains into the memory, and second time when you are going to access that page is not going to fetch from server, it is going to fetch from your memory only. So this is caching. Easy to learn and code. This is advantages of Node.js. Hosting is easy. They are using Pass and Heroku as a platform for hosting the application of Node.js. Data streaming is easy in Node.js. Corporate support is there. Many companies are involved. They are using this Node.js, such as Walmart, PayPal, Microsoft, Yahoo. Now next point is traditional web server. How traditional web server was working. After learning this, you will come to know how Node.js is working. You can first check this diagram of traditional web server. This is a request from client side. Here is your server, and this is a thread pool. If one request is there, one thread is associated with that request. If second request is coming, second thread is there. If third request is there, third thread will be there for executing that particular request of user. So this is a thread pool. In the traditional web server, each request is handled by dedicated thread. For each request, they are giving dedicated thread to execute that request from thread pool. If no thread is available, suppose in your thread pool only 10 threads are there and one more request is coming, 11th request is coming, that time what will happen? If no thread is available, now thread is not available, already 10 threads are given to 10 requests. At that point of time, then request wait till the next available thread. So here is a blocking concept is coming. If thread is not available, your request is in waiting state till the next thread is available. Out of that 10 thread, at least one thread will finish its processing. After that only new thread is going to, or new request is going to execute. Till that time that request is in waiting state. That is called as a blocking. Dedicated thread executes a particular request and does not return to thread pool until it completes. So this is the dedicated thread for this request one. When this request one will complete its execution, then and then only it will release this thread. Otherwise, it will continue its execution. Dedicated thread executes a particular request and does not return to thread pool until it completes the execution and return the response. So this is the diagram of traditional web server. Every request is given to dedicated thread. If how many threads are there, that many requests are simultaneously we can execute. If number of requests are increasing, that time that request has to wait till these threads are not empty. So this is traditional web server model. Now we will see Node.js process model, how Node.js is working if we compare with the traditional web server. Here you can see the example of Node.js server. Here every request is going to this single thread. How many requests are there? This is a single thread. Only single thread is there which is going to execute these requests. So Node.js processes under request differently as compared to traditional web server. Node.js run a single process and the application code runs in a single thread. Single process will be there for executing all the requests. Single process is there and single thread is there, and thereby needs less resource than other platform. In previous platform, we required separate thread for separate process. Here is only single process and single thread available for executing the request of user. All the user requests to your web application will be handled by single thread, and all the input output work or long running job is performed asynchronously for particular request. So this single thread doesn't need for the request to complete. It is free to handle the next request. When asynchronous input output work completes, then it processes the request further and send the response. So here your request one is coming for execution. Its execution is already going on. After some time you feel that there is a need of some input output operation. You have to take input from user, and then only your application will go ahead. That time this job sends to event loop. Here event loop will send this job to next level. Next level will complete that job and again return that process to event loop. Event loop will intimate to the single thread, that is my input output work is done. Now next process I have to start execution. So it will again return that process to single thread. Single thread will complete the remaining portion of execution and give response to user. So using single thread only we are doing all this task. An event loop is constantly watching for the events to be raised for a synchronous job and executing callback function when the job completes. Internally, Node.js uses libbev for the event loop, which in run uses internal C++ thread pool to provide a synchronous input output. So remember this thing, only one single thread is there. Only one single thread is there which is going to handle all the request of user. See, this is single thread. First request is coming. When its input output request or any other database query is there, if it is waiting for that query to return the result, till that time this request is given to event loop. After completion, event loop will return that request to single thread again to complete remaining part of that request and give response to again that particular request or particular client. So understood this Node.js process model and traditional web server model. In traditional, for every request, separate thread is there for execution. And in Node.js, for every request, single thread is there for execution. Because of that single thread, Node.js process model increases performance and scalability with few caveats because there is no blocking. So simultaneously, we are executing number of processes. So result will be more. That's why it is increasing the performance. Node.js is not fit for an application which performs CPU intensive operations. It is not fit for the application which performs CPU intensive operations like image processing or other heavy computation work because it takes time to process a request and therefore blocks the single thread also. So it is not fit for the application which performs CPU intensive operations. Node.js comes with a built-in library that allows application to act as a web server. It has a built-in library with this which act as a web server. Node.js event-driven architecture and non-blocking input-output API optimizes an application's throughput. Throughput means output in a single minute. For example, in a single minute, how many applications are completing its execution? That is called as a throughput. So Node.js excels when it comes to real-time communication. Actual working of Node.js. In brief, Node.js is a virtual machine that uses JavaScript as a scripting language and runs on V8 environment, Google Chrome environment. This is It works on single-threaded event loop and non-blocking input-output, which provides high rate as it can handle a higher number of concurrent requests. There is a no blocking statement, that's why it can handle higher number of concurrent requests. Also, by making use of HTTP module, Node.js can run on any standalone web server. So this is brief about Node.js. What is Node.js? It is a virtual machine that uses JavaScript as a scripting language and runs on V8 environment. It works on single-threaded event loop and non-blocking input-output. So all these points are coming under the advantageous features of Node.js, how it is going to work. See, this is the difference between comparison between request handling in Node.js and traditional server. This is your traditional server and this is Node.js server. When requests are coming, it is going to assign to separate thread here in traditional server. In Node.js, all requests are assigned to the single thread. So this is difference between traditional server request handling and Node.js server request handling. So here, if no thread is available, we have to wait till other threads are empty. So this is comparison. Same is written here. Now we will see blocking. What is blocking? Blocking is also called as a synchronous approach. Synchronous means we are stopping the execution at that time. Blocking is also called as a synchronous approach. An example of blocking is how some web servers like ones in Java or PHP handle requests. If your code does something blocking, like reading something from a database, your code stalls at that line. Means at particular line, if you ask, if we take our example of C++, if you ask their C in or variable name is A, that time it is going to request for user to enter something. So we are stopping there only. In C++ is also blocking type of application. So that time it is going to wait for user to enter something. So that is called as a your code stalls at that line and wait for the operation to finish. In that period, your machine is holding onto memory and processing time for a thread that is not doing anything. Means your thread is empty now till that input is going to come from user. In order to cater all other requests while that thread has stalled depends on your setup. So here you cannot take other request at that time because you are waiting for user to input something. Till that time your process is in waiting state. Another example, this is real life example. They have given example of restaurant. Imagine the situation of restaurant. The waiter will take order from table 1, give it to the kitchen and will wait until the chef prepare the food. Means he is not going to take the order of second table. He will wait till the chef is preparing the food. This is called as a blocking or synchronous nature. Same way here, if one program is waiting for input output, till that time your processor is empty. He is not doing anything. He is idle or processor is idle. So this is called as a blocking situation or synchronous nature. And opposite to this, non-blocking is also called as a asynchronous approach. Opposite to blocking. In contrast, non-blocking server like ones made in Node.js only use one thread to service all requests. Here we are using one thread to service all requests in Node.js. When the code service needs to query a database, for example, it sends off a request to database. However, instead of waiting for the response and stall, it sends callback to the second queue and code continues running. It will take second request for execution. Now, when the DB returns data, the callback gets queued in the third queue where they are pending execution. Means when that database request is complete, again it will give that response from database to the thread again for execution of next part of that process. When the engine is doing nothing, it picks up callback from the third queue and execute it. Already one process is executing in that thread and your first process is database query is complete. Now it is also in waiting state. When your first request, which is already going on, that is complete, immediately thread will take the database query, the process which has completed database query. It will execute that process and complete its execute and return result to the client. So in this way, Node.js is working. So it is following the asynchronous approach, non-blocking approach. It will not block any process from execution or running. So this is blocking and non-blocking. So here again given example of same restaurant example. In contrast, the waiter takes order from table 1 and gives the order in the kitchen. Now the waiter can serve another table. He will go to the another table and take that table 2's request. Let's say table 2 and get their order. This is a synchronous system. As the chef is preparing the food, meanwhile a single waiter is serving different tables. The waiter doesn't have to wait for the chef to cook the meal before he has to go to another table. So this is a non-blocking nature or a non-blocking approach. This is what we call non-blocking or asynchronous architecture. Clear with this blocking and non-blocking?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Then install Node.js application that I have already told you yesterday. Using this site, download the Node.js and install it. Now next, running first hello world application in Node.js. Now go to your command prompt. We will see practically. Go to your command prompt. I am showing here also. See, any command prompt you can take. Node.js command prompt or normal your command prompt. Any command prompt you can take. Because Node.js is already installed. So you can use any command prompt. Are you doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Now open your command prompt and check your versions of Node.js. Node.js version. Here I have written command. See, Node space dash V means it will check the version of your Node.js application. Node dash V. So here this is my version v6.11.1. So you can check your version of Node.js. Also it will show that Node.js is installed or not. You will get the idea. If you are getting version of Node.js, then your Node.js is installed. And second is npm node package manager. In this, various packages are involved. For example, we use header file in C++. Same way we have to use packages here. If you want to use any functionality, then we have to include package first, then we can use that functionality. So here we can check the version of npm also, node package manager, npm space dash v. So it will give version of npm also. So whether both are working correctly or not, both are installed or not, that we can get from here. Here is version of npm 3.10.10. Have you tried?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now this is for checking the installation of your node and npm. Now next we have to print hello world. Basic statement we have to print. Simply write node in the command prompt. See here, node. Only write node there. Node. And press enter. So it will give this sign. Right arrow like sign means your application. Now you can write their code. So for writing something in C, C++ on console, you will write printf. Same way यहाँ पे आपको क्या करना है console.log and in bracket or space in double quote write hello world double quote complete semicolon enter unexpected string that means space bracket console.log that bracket hello hello world. Clear? I will tell you later what is this undefined. Here with this
Yes,
console.log in
ma'am.
bracket hello world. Simply we can print string like this. Now we can perform mathematical operation also. Directly we can write the numbers 7 minus 1. It will give result 8 plus 8. 4 into 4. Clear? So you can perform mathematical operations also from here. Now this node part is continuously going on like a loop. If you want to exit from this loop, then you can write dot exit. Will come out of that loop, node loop. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Now next part is running Hello World application again. How to run local web server. Now we have to execute our application through local web server. For that reason, we have to create one folder. Here I have created one folder, my node application at any location. You can create it at any location. To create folder, I have already created. I will go there only. So create folder anywhere. That path we have to use for execution of this application. Node.js. Here is my folder, my node application. So create this folder, my node application. Done. Fast. Reply me. Done it.
Yes, ma'am.
Next, how to create server. Now we have to create server. Select about menu from node.js.org. This is a website. From this website, select this about menu. If you are using internet online, then you can use this node.js.org. Go on this site and select about menu. In this about menu, they have given one code to execute our server. Select that code. node.js.org and go to about menu. This go to this about menu, and here they have given code. Just copy paste. We have to copy it and paste it inside. See, I have copied this code now. Next step is create server.js file in my node application folder. Just now you have created one folder, my node.js application. Inside this folder, create server.js file. This server.js. Create notepad file and give extension .js. So automatically it will create file like this server.js. Done. Create server.js file using notepad. Then open this file using notepad. Open with notepad. Open server.js file using notepad, and here paste that code which you have taken from about menu of node.js site. Directly paste your code. Here paste code in server.js file. Now next, now go to the command prompt and select your my node application folder. Now we have to select this folder where you have saved that folder. Go to the command prompt, and where is that folder you have to select. Where is that folder? In E colon. So go to the E colon directly. Now I am here at E colon, E drive. Then for getting this whole path, directly you can write cd space and drag and drop this folder, my node application folder here in this command prompt. So you will get path. You can write also. Now this is my path of my node application. After this, enter. So I am now on my node application folder. Done this? Yes, everyone. Do you know how to go to that path? Unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Done.
Done this? Okay. Now next what we have to do, we have to execute that file, server file. So for executing that file, what we have to write? Node. Every time if you want to execute any application of Node.js, we have to write this node. Node first, then after that the file name. So node space server.js file name, because that file is available under that my node application folder. So node then space server dot js and press enter. So now it has started the server running at where it is running at this location. This is the location where your server is running now. Done. Have you started your server?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then now go to the next. Now we have to see the output to browser. Now go to the browser to test your URL. This is your URL 127 that we have got in previous server execution. Test this URL 127.0.0.1. This is your and colon 3000. You have to write this. After executing this, you will get hello world. This is written under the server.js file. So you will get output using the browser after execution of server. So right there 127. So 127 dot 127 dot क्या है सर्वर में http colon 127.e 127.1 colon 3000 is the port number. Enter. Hello world. This code written under that server.js file. Here is that code. Hello world. Means first we have to execute, we have to start the server. After that only we can get this result. Got this result using the URL?
Yes, ma'am.
Now next what we have to do. So this is now they have given the explanation of the code which we have written under this server.js file. One line by line I am giving the explanation. First is const http is equal to require http. Require means as we write in C++ hash include require, which package you have to use, that you will write inside this, and that package is required. That's why required function is there, require in bracket http. So here we are calling the http package, or we are importing the http package using this line. Which package you require, that package name coming inside this bracket, and required is there, require http. So here we are importing http package. Whatever functions are available under this package, that we can access after that, like hash iostream.h, then we can access cout scene easily. Same way here we are accessing other functions of which are under http package. So this is first line of server.js page. Now next two lines, host name and port. Define host name along with port number. This is your host name 127.0.0.1. This is your host name and this is port number. Using this port number we are getting access to that variable. You can change host name and port number. It is used to create our URL. So here we are going to create our URL using this host name and port. We can give other number also यहाँ पे, or this number also. Now next line of server.js page, this one, const server is equal to http dot create server. That is I have placed here. Now we are creating server using create server function. This is a function of http package. To use this function we have to import this package http create server. Under this create server we are passing a request and response parameter. We are requesting and giving response. So this parameter we have to pass of this create server function. By default we are sending status code is equal to 200. This is RES. RES means response from the server side, whether it is working or not. Status code is equal to 200 means it is responding, it is giving success to the user that server is running now. So by default we are sending status code 200 which shows success of server. Then using set header, there is a set header. Using this set header we are setting content type is equal to text. Which type of content we are going to show to the user. Here we are showing text type of content. So we have selected here text. Then in the body we are sending hello world. So res response dot end, in that bracket we can write any syntax, any letters, that will be your output of the server. After executing this line, that URL, you will get this output. This is your body. Whatever you will write under this body, that will be your output. So this is create server function. And then last, server listen. After execution of server, server will listen from this port and host name. This is the URL. Using this URL only, server is going to listen what you are going to show the output to user. So at the end, we are having server that is listening to the port number 3000 along with host name 127.0.0.1. And then we are printing that server is running at this URL. So here, this is a command prompt a result. When you will execute node server.js, you will execute this file, that time you will get this output server running, that is available here also, console.log. Server running at what? Host name and port number. This is host name 127.0.0.1 and after colon 3000 is the port name that we have shown here. Using this line only, it is giving this output. So next, now our server is running. If you want to shut down that server, you have to press Ctrl plus C in command prompt. So go to the command prompt and write there Ctrl plus C. Automatically you are coming out of this server running state. Now your server is shut. Return this Ctrl plus C. Now go again browser, check this URL, refresh it. This site can't be reached because now our server is stopped. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now next, working with REPL. Read, eval, print and loop. REPL. First understand the theory of REPL. The REPL feature of Node is very useful in experimenting with Node.js code and to debug JavaScript code. Here we can write code of Node.js as well as we can debug the code of JavaScript. It is quick and easy way to test simple Node.js JavaScript code. REPL stands for read, eval, print and loop. It represents a runtime computing environment. REPL is like Windows console or Unix or Linux shell where a command is entered and the system responds with an output in interactive mode. To launch REPL Node shell, open command prompt in Windows or terminal in Mac or Unix Linux and type node as shown below. It will change prompt to right arrow in Windows and Mac. So whatever we have done before this, after writing node, immediately they have given this arrow. That is called as REPL. Working in REPL. Read, eval, print, loop. This is your command prompt. We have written their node. Immediately it is converted into this right arrow. Here we can start writing our mathematical computation. A plus B, C plus D, like this we can write here. So it will immediately give the result of that input. Same thing is mentioned here. What is work? What is use of read, eval, print, and loop? Node.js or Node comes bundled with REPL environment. It performs the following task. Read. It is used to read users' input. Passes the input into JavaScript data structure and store in memory. So it will take input from user, parse it to the JavaScript data structure. How we are going to represent that input into JavaScript, that is going to parse here, and after that it will store into the memory. Then eval, it is used to take and evaluate the data structure. Whatever instruction you have given, for example, A plus B, means here we have to do addition of A and B. So that it will done under this part, evaluation. Then print, it will use to print the result. Whatever result of A plus B, that is going to print at this stage. And again loop means that sign, arrow. Again it will show that arrow. Loops the above command until user presses Ctrl plus C twice. So read, here we are taking input, then here we are going to evaluate that, and here we are going to print. So after every time there is a sign that coming, arrow sign is coming, that is called as a loop. Example, we have already seen some examples. Again we will see 2 plus 7, 9. 2 plus 1 into 5 minus 4. This type of expression also we can pass there. 3. We can pass to string and we can concatenate that string and show the result like this. Then now we have to use variable. Directly we can use a plus b, that is also possible. But here for creating variable we can use var keyword. To store value, use var keyword. If var keyword is not used, I'm telling about here about undefined. We have got the result of undefined after showing the output to user. So this line will tell you what is undefined, why undefined is coming there. If var keyword is not used, then the value is stored in the variable and printed. If we are not using var keyword, then value is directly stored into the variable and printed. Whereas if var keyword is used, then the value is stored but not printed. If you are using var keyword, then value will be directly stored into that variable, but it will not going to show to the user. If you want to show to the user that value, then you can print that value by using console.log. So here directly we are using variable without var keyword. A is equal to 100. So directly it will show 100 as a output. But same, if you use var keyword, var b is equal to 200, then it will give result undefined. After that, if you do a plus b, whatever value of a, that is 100 is value stored into a and 200 is stored into b, so it will directly give result 300. We can do same thing here under this. Line is coming. So now we are writing a is equal to 100. 100 is directly showing. Second is var b is equal to 200. It is showing undefined because this 200 is stored into this b variable. But if you use var, then it is not going to show directly result. If you want to see the result of this b, then we have to write there console.log. Console.log and b. So it will show result 200. But we have already stored this variable using var, so it will show undefined result here also. Now we have to do addition of these two, a plus b. If you directly write the variable name without writing var keyword, no undefined sign will be there in the result. Now your loop is continuously going on. If you want to come out from this loop, twice you have to press Ctrl plus C. First time they have given this result. To exit, press Ctrl plus C again. Again I have written Ctrl plus C. I came out from this loop. Or you can use this dot exit. So this is the normal operation which we can perform using REPL. Now multiple expression also we can perform under this like do loop. This is the multiple expression loop. So here I have declared one variable where x is equal to, simultaneously I am doing here var first write node, start the loop. First now REPL means first part is read. It will take value from user x is equal to 0. This is the value we are assigning to x variable. Now use do loop. X plus plus console dot log to print the value of x. X starting from 0, but initially we have written here x plus plus means first time when output will come, that time 1 will be the result of x. Plus x. Syntax error, double colon. X is equal to 0. Array. Do loop. X plus console dot log plus x then closing bracket of do, then condition till when we have to execute this loop while x is less than 5. When it will become 5, automatically you will come out of this loop. So this is the output of do loop. X is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. At the time when x is 5, that time we are coming out of this while loop. So this is multiple expression using Node.js REPL engine. Done this. If you want to try this. Just unmute yourself. Are you doing?
Yes, ma'am.
Done, ma'am.
सबका हो गया? हो गया सब लोगों का?
Yes.
Next point, if you want to get previous result, whatever variable value we have stored previously, if you want to get that, then we can use underscore here. So check this code where p is equal to 100. We will do directly here. You can also try with me where p is equal to 100. Come out of this. Again write node where p is equal to 100. Then where q is equal to 200. p plus q, p plus q, addition of p and q, that is 300. Where sum is equal to underscore. Now we have not stored anything under the sum. We have directly written underscore. Underscore means it will take previous result, that is 300. We have already write the expression p plus q. After that 300 is the previous result. So that result we are going to store into this sum variable using this underscore. So when you will press enter, that time it will show undefined only because we have used where keyword here. So if you want to check output of sum, then write there console dot log in bracket sum. So 300 is the output which is stored into the sum because of this underscore variable. Done?
Yes, ma'am.
Now after this they have given various commands of REPL. That command we can execute in this node. Dot help command, break, clear, save file, load file, control plus C twice, control D, up down keys, tab keys. These are the commands which we can execute under this REPL. For example, I will show 1 2 dot help. It will show the list of all commands which are available under this. So help, under this help we can get all these commands: break, clear, edit, exit, help, load, save. Dot break. This is one command which is used to exit from multiple expression, multi-line expression that we have seen before. Do while command is there. That is multi-line expression. If you want to break that expression in between, then we can write there break. Clear is also we can write. Save file, it is used to save current node REPL, whatever we have written here. If you want to save that, then we can use this command. Load the content of current session. Then control plus C terminate the current command. Control plus C. It is going to terminate the current command. Control plus C twice, it will terminate the node REPL. We will come out of this loop. It is also used to terminate the REPL. Control plus D. Up down keys, see the command history. See, using this up and down key, whatever instruction you have written previously, you can get that. See, node server JS. I am getting using this up and down arrow key. If you want to write same thing again, no need to write it. Go use up and down key and write other command. It will start the session again. Tab key, it gives the list of current commands. So these are the commands of REPL. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
This is your first chapter, end of